Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, July 12th, and we are in at just a little bit of limbo here as we wait for CPI data tomorrow. Thursday, we kick off those bank earnings, which kicks off the actual earnings season here for July. And the market's just kind of hanging around, not really doing a lot as we wait for it. We have taken a bit of a step down, and I want to show yesterday we took the initial drop and then we just stuck. Worked all day and ended up kind of back in the same morning range that we were in. So that's what it looked like yesterday. It was a tough trading day, didn't really do much. And I think that was the right attitude to have. So I think today we'll probably have more of the same. But this is the daily futures. And here's something I want us to pay attention to. Right, so we went in and put in this low here on June 17th. We went up, right? Came back down, put in a higher low, not a higher high yet, unless you look at this trend line where there's that gap. We could look at it that way too. We did not put in a higher high, so we're in this weird kind of wedge indecision area. So looking at this, one might conclude that we'll come back here, test the 20 maybe today, test this trend line, and then perhaps continue a channel up. That's kind of what we're looking for. However, it is really important to note that we did not make a higher high here. And I think that's really important because higher highs let us know that maybe that's more of a trend that we're starting to channel. Now, we could just be wedging. That's completely possible, but we have to be prepared for both scenarios. So let's talk about CPI data. When that comes out, that's it's looking at the inflation. Have we peaked inflation? Here's what I'm going to tell you. If it's a really hot number, meaning that inflation is still in full swing, that it exceeds the last reading of inflation, I would definitely expect another downturn here. However, if it indicates that perhaps we are starting to roll over in inflation, I think we could start to see a little bit more of a very, very cautious move up. Now, I always tell people, go and look at your weekly charts because it just smooths things out. You kind of see, it shows you the big picture because you're looking on a longer time frame. And on that time frame, you can see here, we have a very distinct channel. We're stuck below the 8, but again, we're making a little bit of a move here. Last week, we did not put in a higher high or a higher low. And that's where we come back into looking at that daily chart as well. We didn't put that in. And again, I think that is incredibly important that we have a good trend, right? These are called trend lines for a reason. Now, this week we're starting out, we've only had one day inside last week's. And again, I think this is waiting on the CPI data for inflation and to see what those initial earnings start looking like. A lot of chatter that, kind of on both sides, but I think a little bit more leaning on the banks actually doing a little bit better from here out. And then, of course, we have the Fed. What are they going to do? Half point, 75 basis points. A tricky spot for them because if they raise too fast, they will actually cause more harm than good. Because as we know, interest rates are raised to curb inflation by slowing down demand. However, it's not just a demand issue that we're having. We are having a supply issue. And we heard yesterday talk about potential COVID shutdowns in China, not the full country, but shutdowns, and that affects our supply chain a great deal. It also affects oil and potential demand. So we'll see when they start opening back up, or if they say they're going to open back up, that will push the demand for oil again. And then lastly, news out of China yesterday. Took me right out of a BABA trade that was doing pretty well. They decided to impose some pretty hefty fines on some of their companies, to include BABA and Tencent. And it's a very cautionary tale. Whenever we take the Chinese trades right now, it is incredibly risky. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that's my look here at the futures. Let's take a pop over and look at the Nasdaq futures. This is a little bit prettier of a chart because we were able to put in higher lows. Last week was actually an inside weekly candle. And we know that tech is what led us up on this post-pandemic run. This is from here to here. This was led very much so by tech. But now we're starting to see people talk about, well, earnings are coming back into alignment. They feel that earnings are coming back into alignment. Valuations have been brought down, yet still very aggressive forecast. So just keep an eye on this. You can see this is a pretty hefty level right here. I'd say 12,130 in the NASDAQ. So that's the weekly. Pop back over here to the daily, and I'm spending a lot of time on this morning because learning how to read the overall chart, and instead of just reading one thing, saying, well, maybe we made a higher low. Okay, well, that's part of the picture. It's not the whole picture. We have good volume. Okay, again, that's part of the picture. It's not the whole picture. We made it over a moving average. And it's when you put all of these pieces together that you see the picture, right? And that's the important part, seeing the whole picture and then saying, this is my plan and this is why. And you can make a very good case for it. NASDAQ futures, a lot like the that SPY futures, right? We came really close to that 20. Let me get this one out of here. We came very close to that 20, and we are pinned between the 20 and the 50 here. So again, just be very, very cautious on anything that you do take. That being said, there are some pretty decent charts. Chewy is one that we have played, we have talked about. Yesterday we put an inside candle in on Chewy. What I would be looking for is for this to either form a bull flag, see what we did here, bull flag, maybe forming a bull flag, or play out of this inside candle. And I would tend to, even if we break down, I would be very break to the downside. I would keep that as a day trade. In fact, I think I would probably keep anything as a day trade right now. But when you play the inside candle, if it breaks above the candle, you go long, obviously. And if it breaks below, you go short or with a put. So I love the look in Chewy here, and that has just been a gift that keeps giving. MRNA, inside candle, nice open window, very tempting yesterday. I think, again, needs a little bit of a rest, so potentially a bull flag setup. So we're looking at that. Let's look at all of the drug and vaccines. Invax had a little bit more of a pullback. Watch and see if this comes back, maybe touches the 8, and then watch for that reversal. Lilly, not much price action yesterday. It looks a lot more like the SPY where we worked all day just to get back to where we started. But this is, really nice, tight inside candle on lower volume here. So I really do like Lilly as well. Merck is another one. This one was a little bit more feisty, built in some volume. You can see a little bit, there we go. So up over yesterday's high, looks pretty darn good. A lot of the drug space in general looks good. Another one we looked at yesterday morning was MNST. Right, monster here. Look at this nice flag. Love this setup. We are just consolidating. We're dropping a little bit of volume, but overall still very good volume. MNST. Roblox. I know, Roblox. Look at this. Up. Take a break. Up. Well, now I'm considering what I'm going to do. Watch for this to touch the 8. It touched yesterday, but I would like to see this push down a little bit through the 8 and then play the swing back up. Still some really good volume on that. Let's see what else. Oh, we talked about McDonald's yesterday. Pretty wicky, a lot of wicks there. I don't really love that, but it's holding a really good price level. So there's a lot of opportunity here this morning if you are looking for it. I didn't set any one of these up because I do believe that into tomorrow's data, it would be best to stay light. That's just my opinion. And so I'm not looking to take on any swings through that, any more swings through that. That's just kind of my thought there. So, All right, if you have any questions, reach out, heatherc@givingtreetrading.com. Remember, with earnings season kicking off, make sure you check your earnings before you get in and decide to hold something. Make sure you know if you're going to end up holding it through earnings. That's totally fine. Just know that that's what you're doing. And also, sympathetic moves, right? So if one chip name is reporting, other chips may move, either good or bad with that. So take a look at that too. Make sure to be fully aware and prepared for any trades. All right, that is it. Reach out, heatherc@givingtreetrading.com.